So, I'm always learning and shit. And I'm always observing. Confirmation burps. Most of the time, at least. And one thing that I've been observing while I've been here is how everybody's in their own version of hell. Like, most people are trapped in their minds completely by, like, anxiety and fear. And I'm realizing that's, like, what has run my family. Like, my entire family is just, like, rampant with, like, fear. And all they talk about is, like, all this negative shit all the time. It's, like, their health ailments and, like, surface stuff. It's just, like, so empty. And they have convinced themselves that their lives are so full because they have all the things that you're supposed to have. They have all their kids in their life. They have, a house. They get to go out to dinners. They get to go to vacations. They have a retirement. They checked all the boxes. Except for it's completely empty and it's completely surface and there's no depth to their life and they're very sad and they have to deal with a lot of sad shit because they're in a lot of denial. So, a lot of people can mask in front of people, but the only people that truly know them are like people who live at home with them, kids or things like that. And we see behind the curtain, we see behind the mask of toxicity. And it's very sad too. It's like very sad to see people like just be in such denial that they're willing to like have these like miserable lives for it. And then you also realize a lot of it was survival too. It's just so it's so mind-boggling and so mind-fucking when you realize like the depth of how deep this goes. Like, and of course this is just the way my brain works. Like I can't turn my brain off. And it will never stop. And this is like what God designed my brain to do, is just seek and search and find answers. Confirmation burps. Because again, I'm realizing it's the pain that I had in my life. Like, my pain was so invisible and it confused me so deeply that God himself had to come explain it to me. That's what I'm starting to realize. I'm like, holy shit. Anybody who channels too, you're getting answers for things from divine intelligence. Like, that's what you needed. So there's something that you needed in your life for that. And for me, I was just like lacking depth from every single interaction in my life. And I knew that, but like, because of the data that I collected that there weren't people like me, I was like, I have to settle. I literally have no choice but to settle. And then one day I literally woke up and I was like, I cannot settle anymore. It's literally killing me to settle in my life. Settle for jobs that are mistreating me. Settle for relationships that are mistreating me. Settle for friendships that are mistreating me. Settle for parents that are mistreating me. Settle for, all this stuff. But of course, I had to come back and be with my parents to get out of other settling that I was doing. And then you come back to people who are still settling and you're just like, oh, this is, like why this is so hard for me, because I stopped doing what they're doing. And it's very painful for me to watch people deteriorate because they're doing something that I've learned is what killed us all of our lives. Like, that's just like what I'm realizing. It's like me and my sister had really deep thoughts of not wanting to be here very early on because my parents also like were very depressing to be around. Like, they're very negative, pessimistic people, but then they also have like this duality of where they like took us to church and they raised us Christian and they have good morals and values. Like, they've never murdered anybody. So again, another thing I was thinking about is like how Christians are like, all sins are the same. And it's like, we don't do that down here. We judge sins differently. You get different sentences based on what you do. So we already contradict the Bible in our judicial system alone. And it's like, I very much believe that there are different levels of sins. Like, yeah, it's going to take a lot longer and there's going to be way, 444, as I say this, way more accountability for the more sin you've done, the more you've agreed to be disconnected from God. But the metacognition of that is that that's just based on your soul age. Like, your soul can only do what age it's at. And the younger a soul, the more disconnected you are and away from God, because it's your first time incarnating as a human. And so the whole point of being on earth is to reconnect back to God through disconnection. So you have to start off by disconnecting to begin with through a bunch of lives. Then you get into like reconnecting back to God. So like that's why like us starseeds, like we are like very different, because again we see how we've gone through all this darkness and we've been able to reconnect back to God. And then we see a bunch of people carrying darkness and convincing themselves that they've like, you know, they're connected to God, but they're not. They're carrying a lot of darkness and evil and rude and injustice and all this stuff. MAGA people. And you're like, how the hell did it get this fucked up? Like, how the hell did we just like massively confuse billions of people across the entire globe? You know, it's not just central to America, but it's literally an issue that's across the globe, is this like manipulation and distortion against how humans should just be fucking existing. And we've all got caught into these sick systems. And then all signs point to Lauderdale, the song from A Day to Remember. All signs point to F in America, and how we've interfered in so many different government coups, because the CIA has come out and declassified a bunch of documents of us overthrowing a bunch of, inserting ourselves and all this stuff. And that's why I say it's like literally modern day Jerusalem, because it is the epicenter of the Matrix. It is the most disillusioned of all the countries. We were told the complete opposite of what it actually is. Now, again, I do believe there's other countries like this, like North Korea and things like that, but the influence that America has is obviously insane compared to other countries. And they told us it's just because like we're the best, but then you realize, no, it's because like you guys ensured that throughout history. And now we know that. And now we know all these lies through the Epstein files, and now we're releasing UFO files. So like you've literally lied to us about everything. So you have now just discredited. That's what they're doing with disclosure, is they're completely discrediting themselves and setting themselves up for litigation beyond control. You know, obviously I know the judicial system's going down, but in the next 2 years, there's so much litigation that can come against the United States alone. Now, you know, we know that they have lied to us in the interest of national security, but we know it's not national security. We now know it's manipulation, coercion into their preferred realities, which is literally psychotic, sick, twisted, demented, inhumane, as disconnected from God as you possibly can, Satan mindset, all of that stuff. And so, again, this is going to be hard for, like, literally everybody. So that, again, I keep talking about this, but I am such a proponent for open contact and aliens coming and all of that stuff, because it just makes the most logical sense for humans to just, like, for their brains. That's what's just going to feel safest for us. We're not going to be able to do this among each other, because people aren't going to feel like they can take accountability between each other. Like, it's too deep. It's gone too far. It's too messy. And that's, God is simulating the experience of believing in him. Like, because we believe in him outside of us, so then now he's actually going to physically show us what that feels like, which is crazy, you know, seeing his miracles and stuff. But, like, having the it's like they're going to feel like God coming down to us. That's like they talk about that, like when like humans worship the gods or whatever, or the fallen angels and all this stuff, because like we literally like work, and it's actually ourselves. That's the other craziest part, because it's us just from the future. So it is this like, all it is like zooming. We're like, it's Horton Hears a Who, where you like zoom in on the little thing and there's all these people on that little thing, and then Horton's outside and he's the big elephant, and then you go even more and he's on a planet, and then even more and even more, and it is that is what this is. And that freaks people out, which is fair, but it's also like, well, this place freaks me out, so this stuff makes me freak out less than the place that we're actually in, which sucks, but that this is where we have to go. But it's like, we are seeing the extremes of this reality, so it does make sense that that there would be polarity to that, because again, that's how like the universe works, and we all know that, yin and yang, up and down, in and out, hermeticism, all those things, right? Well, we're seeing it, and we're gonna feel it too, so